author The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team and several other national bestsellers. Preface. The first time I met Bob Nardelli, I immediately liked him. He served with 2 other CEOs on a panel in a leadership forum that I moderated. He was smart, witty, challenging, and an excellent communicator. I have good friends who know all 6 of the individuals profiled in the upcoming chapters of this book, and there should be no doubt that these executives are bright, highly competent, resilient leaders. The boards that hired them had every reason to believe that these gifted individuals would provide outstanding leadership to their respective organizations. In each case, the board hired the leader because they believed the strengths of the new CEO were a good fit with the unique needs of the corporation at that time. Home Depot, for example, matured as an organization to the point where it needed a more disciplined management approach, and the board believed Nardelli's skills were exactly what were needed. Each company's relationship with their newly hired CEOs began with great optimism. The expectation was that these individuals would serve for lengthy tenures, and, at some point, after years of prosperity and success, execute a thoughtful succession of leadership. But somewhere along the line for each of the leaders profiled in this book, the board of directors concluded that the individual they collectively elected to lead their organization experienced a catastrophic failure of leadership. The sources of information for the leader profiles were respected media, such as the Wall Street Journal and Business Week. My intent was to pull together information from an array of credible sources and to identify the reasons these individuals were eventually dismissed from their jobs. In fairness, there are at least 2 sides to every story. I've tried to provide a fair representation of what other reliable sources have said. This was not investigative journalism, but rather a summation of available public information used to create 6 illustrative case studies. I have great appreciation for each of the 6 leaders profiled, for their tremendous competence and for what they have accomplished. Very few people could do what they do. I have no doubt that each of these talented individuals will be successful, particularly when their strengths are a good match with the demands of a future endeavor. My respect for these 6 individuals made the leader profiles the hardest chapters in this book to write, because the focus became how each leader failed, even though each had a brilliant history of success in prior roles. I chose to write about these particular leaders because they offered highly visible and compelling illustrations of individuals who derailed for the very reasons we can derail: a failure of character. I don't mean failed character in the sense of dishonesty that results in fraudulent behavior, but rather compromised character in a broader sense, for example, hubris or being dismissive of others. At the outset, I felt it imperative to make clear that Derailed is ultimately not about the 6 profiled leaders. It is about us. The opening chapter is particularly important because it defines what derailment is and demonstrates why it is relevant to us, regardless of our present position or future aspirations. This book has 2 primary objectives. First, to help us understand how derailment occurs, the real point of the 6 leader profiles. Second, to help us avoid a cataclysmic train wreck in our own careers, the subject of the second half of the book. My hope is that you will find Derailed tremendously helpful. When we apply the principles in the upcoming pages, we will stay on track. Running off the rails. Derailed. Your toast, Ted Turner. A client company known as one of the oldest, largest, and most successful enterprises in the electronics industry requested I attend a private dinner meeting that included the CEO, the COO, and the CFO. The rich mahogany wainscoting, heavy beamed ceiling, lavish art, and opulent window treatments all contributed to the power atmosphere of an elite men's club near their